Imagine your daughter comes to you and says, "I'm so overwhelmed. I have to write essays, complete applications, and I don't even know if I'll get into college anywhere." There's lots of ways you could respond. You might help her make up a to-do list, or you could reassure her that everything will work out well. But usually she'll still feel pretty stressed. What if you tried saying something like this? "Do you remember back when you tried out for that part in the school play in the 8th grade? You wanted that part so much. You practiced, you prepared, you worried, you were vulnerable. But the really cool thing you did was to give it your best, even though it was hard and scary. That's the kind of girl you are." Remembering is a great way to help a child access their toolbox of skills and abilities. When you have succeeded at something in the past, you can use those memories to help you face a new challenge. Remembering builds competence because it helps kids see how they've come through when they've come through a tough situation before. It helps them honor their learning and use past experiences to strengthen their skills. Asking questions is one of the easiest ways to help a child remember. I use questions all the time in my work as a counselor. When I ask kids at school, "How are you?" they usually say good. Then I ask, "What's going good?" And they're always flabbergasted by that question. "Why is today a good day?" "I don't know." But it's really good for them to recognize, "Oh, well, I turned in all my work today. My teachers are happy with me. My mom is happy with me. That's cool." The other day, I had a kid in my office saying, "I can't go to class because the last time the substitute made me go to the board and do a math problem. And I'll just die if that happens again because I don't know how to do the problem. So I can't go." So I asked her some questions that made her think back to the exact experience. "Well, what happened when you couldn't finish the problem?" Well, she helped me finish the problem and then I sat down. But I felt really embarrassed." "Okay, so what do you do when you feel embarrassed? What makes you feel better?" And then that's when she started to pull up tools and strategies that she did know. If I gave her that list of things to do, it's not as powerful. But when she tells me, "This is what I've tried and this is what I know how to use," then I say, "Does that help?" And she goes, "Yeah, it usually does." "Would you want to try that again?" "Yeah, I think I do. I'm ready. I can do this." She's already owned it. This is my thing that I know how to do and I can use it. And it's not giving her a lecture or a list of to-dos. It is way more powerful. There are a lot of different questions you can ask your kid to help them remember. For example, what helped things work out for you today? When did you face this before? What did you try? Did it work? Would you like to try it again? Have you ever felt like this? What did you do? These questions will help them find solutions that work for them. Remember, you aren't asking because you need to know the answers. You're asking because they need to know the answer. You can also encourage your child to take a scientist approach instead of being judgmental. Negative memories stick more easily in our brains than positive ones. This makes it harder to look back on the past and recognize our successes. Remembering like a scientist means being curious and exploratory. It's trying to avoid unnecessary judgment and self-criticism. Instead, we think to ourselves, "I tried that once and it didn't help in the situation. I can try something else or try that tool in a different situation." Some kids are really sensitive to feelings of guilt about past mistakes or just feeling insecure about an embarrassing experience that happened. And it can be really easy to connect those memories to negative feelings and thoughts about yourself. If we're remembering past experiences and beating ourselves up about them, that's not helpful to us. Instead, help your child remember in order to understand what they've learned from past experiences. Remembering past negative experiences isn't always bad. If we can remember without becoming too mean to ourselves, it can be very helpful. It's good to learn that something is hard or that you don't like it or that you haven't built that skill yet. Parents can help their child recall both positive and negative experiences. This will help kids get a more accurate picture of their skills and experience. Another skill I use all the time is narration. Narration improves your child memory by drawing attention to significant moments. It's especially helpful with younger children who might not have the vocabulary they need yet to describe their lives and create a memory. Narration gives your child words to put to emotions or skills and helps them attach meaning to an experience. This makes their future memories of the event even more powerful. You can narrate by noticing what's going on in the moment and recognizing an accomplishment or a new skill. Wow, look at what you just did. Did you realize how you just handled that? This helps them see, oh, I am a person who's good at organizing or creative thinking or communicating. Narrating doesn't just happen when your child's doing something well. You can narrate when you notice your child is struggling too. Oops, that didn't work well. What are you going to try now? You can also narrate your own life to say, oh wow, this is hard, this is awkward, embarrassing. Okay, well, we can get through this. I'll breathe, I'll be all right. As you narrate that out loud, it helps them recognize and remember what they can do to cope with a difficult situation. Finally, storytelling is a great way to remember together. Give your child lots of openings to tell stories. The more often your child tells stories, the better they will be at remembering their past experiences. Repetition is key. You can give them opportunities by building story time into your family routine. Whether you take time while having dinner together or saying goodnight or whenever it is, listen to their stories with curiosity and interest. You can also expose your child or teen to inspiring stories in books or media. When you encounter a really amazing story about someone in the newspaper or media, maybe you read a book about someone and you see how they were able to overcome a great challenge. These stories trigger strong emotional reactions in us. When someone shares a personal experience that we can maybe relate to, it almost becomes our own memory in a sense, because we are drawn to those things. Your child may think back on these stories when they face challenges. It may give them ideas on how to approach their own problems, and they'll learn without experiencing a challenge themselves. Storytelling can foster a sense of family heritage, belonging, and identity that builds your child's confidence. When your child knows a certain family story by heart, it creates a sense of identity. They know who they are because they are part of this story. They know they aren't alone. This gives them the courage to face hard things. A word of caution with teens and storytelling. Rather than sharing a story to teach a lesson, share a story to help connect with your child when they're facing a difficulty. Remembering experiences from your own past can give you greater empathy for your teen. For instance, you can say, when I encountered this situation, this is how I was feeling. Is that close to what you're feeling? I mean, what is it like for you? You aren't telling the story for them to understand your past, but to help them interpret their own experience. Your teen might think, oh, well, somehow, my mom overcame this. I'll find my way. I'll overcome it too. But she kind of gets it. She knows what I'm feeling. The timing of stories is also really important with teens. Let your child be the one to probe you with questions about how you overcame or possible solutions. We all want to feel competent. Our children want to feel competent. Helping them look back and learn from their life experience, whether it was good or bad, is very valuable to them. It's also valuable to us as parents. While you're facing a challenge, it's a good time for you to remember what has worked well between you and your child in the past. So what's your story? Last time you were concerned about your child, what worked? What did you say that helped you connect with your child? What helped them feel safe enough to listen and ask questions? Could you try that again? When you ask questions, think like a scientist, narrate, and tell stories, you will find that both you and your child will better remember past successes. You will gain confidence in yourself as a parent and your child will practice their natural skills and become more competent.